Majesty of Denmark.
How now, Ophelia?
How should I, your true love, know from another one? By his cockle hat and staff, and his sandal shoon.
Ophelia is mad, and everyone knows it. No one even debates it. Hamlet tells his fellows at the beginning of the play that he will put an antic disposition on, or in other words, he tells us that he's going to act crazy. One could argue that somewhere along the way of play acting, Hamlet's mad act eventually becomes reality, and that he finally goes insane at some point in his performance, but that is debatable. Ophelia's madness, on the other hand, is hardly ever debated. Almost universally, directors, actors, and readers believe that Ophelia truly goes crazy. She never tells anyone that she is pretending to be mad, as Hamlet does, so perhaps there's no good reason to doubt her insanity. There are certainly plenty of textual evidences to support the assertion that she is mad. However, I would argue that one could read Ophelia as just as sane as Hamlet. We could say that she is not mad in the English sense of the word, but in the American sense of the word. That she is angry. She senses a cover-up for her father's death. Her lover has abandoned her. And, frankly, he appears to have gone crazy himself. Thus, as a disempowered woman, she turns to the very methods that Hamlet has been using throughout the play in an attempt to discover truth and to influence events in her favor. Consider the words of the gentleman to the queen when he pleads with her to speak with Ophelia. She speaks much of her father, spurns enviously at straws, in other words, objects to insignificant matters, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense, yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection. They yawn at it. That is, they wonder at their meaning, and botch the words up, fit to their own thoughts, which, as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed would make one think that there might be thought. Couldn't the same be said of Hamlet? Has he not been speaking much of his father? Has he not also been objecting to what others consider insignificant straws, insignificant matters, speaking things in doubt that carry but half sense? And has Hamlet not been likewise giving clues that there might be some hidden meaning behind his words and actions through his winks, his nods, and his gestures? Of Hamlet, Polonius remarks, though this be madness, yet there is method in it. Of Ophelia, Laertes later remarks, this nothing's more than matter. In these acknowledgments, the most simplistic of characters recognize the hidden meanings and intentions behind the words and actions of both Hamlet and Ophelia. There is more to both of these characters than a simple display of madness. We should also note that Claudius and Gertrude certainly seem much more than a crazed, distressed little girl. Queen Gertrude admits Ophelia into her presence only because she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds. If Ophelia had not been politically volatile, Gertrude would never have agreed to see her. Later, the king commands Horatio to follow her close and give her good watch, but only because Ophelia has threatened to tell Laertes of their father's suspicious death, his unjust burial, and her own intimate relationship with Hamlet. It is out of concern for her words, not her health, that the king commands that Ophelia be watched. Ophelia's songs reveal her anguish at losing her virginity to Hamlet, her anger at his unkept vows, and her rage at the hasty, secret burial of her father. Ophelia uses songs and stories the way Hamlet uses double meanings. When Ophelia speaks of the owl and the baker's daughter, most scholars agree Ophelia is referencing a well-known legend about a baker's daughter who is turned into an owl for being ungenerous when Jesus, disguised as a beggar, asks for some bread. The story goes that when the baker charitably puts a large piece of dough into the oven to bake for the beggar, his daughter rebukes him, and for her unkindness, she's changed into an owl. The idea of this sudden transformation prompts Ophelia to exclaim, "Lord, we know what we are, but know not what we may be." She is possibly considering her own transformation or aspired transformation, but when Ophelia goes on to say to Claudius, "God be at your table," she is issuing a veiled threat. "Be generous, or you may find yourself transformed," is the clear message. She is warning Claudius that he may find himself turned from a king into something very different if he is not careful or kind. Her words are clear, and she is threatening the king. When Ophelia sings, "Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day," it is clear that she is revealing that she lost her virginity to her Valentine, Hamlet. No one questions this meaning. The song is a deliberate revelation to the king and queen that their son Hamlet has slept with Ophelia and that she is now ready to talk. She's threatening scandal. Lastly, when she sings "Young men will do it," Ophelia is making a very bawdy remark and letting the king and queen know that Hamlet indicated that he would marry her. But now, after she has slept with him, he has refused. She is telling his mother that there was an arrangement, an agreement with Hamlet, and Ophelia is not forgetting it. Every song she sings is another jab at the monarchy. It is a stinging threat, an angry accusation, and a promised scandal. She is mad, all right. She's mad as hell. Although scholars deliberate over the meaning of the many flowers Ophelia passes out and to whom they are given, they agree that they are symbolic. For Ophelia even tells us that some of them have special meaning, and that Ophelia, like Hamlet, has a method to her madness in distributing them. The meanings I give here may be disputed elsewhere, but the point is that there is meaning. There is sense being made by Ophelia as she passes these flowers out. These are not the mere ramblings of an insane little girl. Ophelia gives rosemary for remembrance. Ophelia explicitly tells us that rosemary symbolizes remembrance, and she is likely handing these to her brother Laertes, whom she charges to remember. Pansies for thought. Again, Ophelia explicitly tells us that pansies symbolize thought. Likewise, these were given to Laertes, who should consider the injustices that have been done. Fennel for flattery. Perhaps Ophelia hands these to King Claudius, who seems easily flattered, and one who flatters in order to gain power. Columbine for cuckoldry. Also likely, Ophelia hands these to King Claudius, who, she warns, could become a cuckold. Gertrude was committing adultery with him before he killed his brother. There's nothing to promise that she won't sleep with another man now. Claudius could become the cuckold, just as he made his brother one. Rue for sorrow. Ophelia likely gives some of this to Queen Gertrude and then announces that she's keeping some for herself. As the queen has lost her son, Ophelia has lost her lover. They both feel sorrow for the loss of Hamlet. However, Ophelia tells Gertrude, "You must wear your rue with a difference." In other words, Gertrude must wear it for a different reason, perhaps referring to its secondary use. Since rue was thought to be the cause of most abortions in that day, Ophelia is perhaps considering that her use of the flower will be different from that of the queen's, as she considers that she is likely pregnant. Daisies for innocence, or a heartbroken lover. Ophelia announces that she has brought only a single daisy, only one. She may not hand this to anyone, but keep it for herself the heartbroken lover. Think of the way a young lover would pull the petals from a daisy, guessing, "He loves me not." Violets for faithfulness. Ophelia tells us that she would have brought them with her, but that they all withered when her father died. In other words, faithfulness and fidelity died with her father, a sentiment Hamlet shares about his own father. If Ophelia is cognizant enough to select flowers for their meaning and hand each to a person with an intended insult or argument, how crazy can she really be? Here again, she appears to be insulting the king and queen under a pretense of insanity. That this is only a pretense is acknowledged by her brother, who declares, "This nothing's more than matter," and who also declares, "Hadst thou thy wits and didst persuade revenge, it could not move thus." It could be argued that this is exactly what Ophelia wants to do, to persuade Laertes to revenge, to insult the king and queen, and to do it all and get away with it under the guise of madness, After all, that is exactly what Hamlet has been doing for the entire play. I do not contend that this is the only way to read Ophelia, but I do believe it is a possible one, and one that is too often ignored.